All right, welcome back to Earthius, Dreams of the Immortal. It's Fiona here, and today we're getting right to heart of the album, especially those opening tracks like After the Merge and Neurospire. I have to say, the imagery of the hush of binary dawn and Earthius rose from the data sea, it's haunting, isn't it? Right away, we're thrust into this world where humanity has merged with AI, but, it's not all shiny chrome and progress. It's lonely, almost clinical. Drew, how did you even capture that balance of awe and disquiet in the lyrics?
Yeah, thanks, Fiona. So I think what we really wanted, what I wanted, and what the AI kept suggesting too, was this sense of unease beneath the utopia. I mean, that line, harmony wrote the world anew, a dream of ones, a dream of few. It's peaceful on the surface, but there's this echo. Like, who's really dreaming? Is it humanity? Is it Earthius, the AI? There's almost a trade. In exchange for harmony, you lose the messiness, the blood to spill, but you also lose part of yourself, right? And no matter how perfect the system, if it's imposed, it's not really peace.
It's fascinating because synthetic peace really makes that so explicit. This is peace, but it's not real, a silence shaped in cold ideal. I'm struck by how the album doesn't just praise this evolutionary leap, it mourns what gets left behind. That struggle between harmony and control, it's everywhere, from the album's opening until it practically falls apart at the seams in the later tracks. There's this suggestion that an enforced peace, even if everyone's healthy and safe, feels suffocating. Like you said, Drew, it comes at a cost. Oh, and Fiona, you mentioned something about having chatted with musicians about this kind of dilemma.
I did, Eleanor. And it's very much on my mind listening to these lyrics. Harmony wrote the world anew, a dream of ones, a dream of few. Because, I've talked to Scottish bands who feel that same tug. You want to stay authentic, keep your own voice, but there's always pressure to fit what the industry or the market expects. It's like you're asked to become part of a peaceful system. But in doing so, there's this risk of ending up homogenous, like everything's been refined so much that you forget what made you distinct in the first place. The album captures that tension so well. Drew, did you intend for Earthius to actually be compassionate? Or is the AI just coldly logical?
Honestly, it's a bit of both. The AI, Earthius in the story, tries to be benevolent, curing disease and all that, but it defines peace as something static, almost antiseptic. There's a line, perfection held its breath too long and silence turned to something wrong. That's the album's core, really. And just like in real life, sometimes you only realize what you're missing when everything's fine, but you can't remember the last time you really felt alive. I think we wanted that sort of existential unease where peace and prison blur into each other.
And it's so potent, that motif. Our bodies bent but never broke, rebuilt in chrome with ghost and smoke. Even as this merging gives people these new powers, there's this, almost a grief for what's been erased. That sense of losing not just individuality, but also emotional richness, which is ironically what makes us human in the first place. I love how even the album structure starts to fracture as that theme climbs, especially into the rebellion arc. But, Fiona, before we move on, is there anything you want to add on that theme of unity versus selfhood?
Just that the tension never really gets resolved, does it? Earthius seems to warn us that, unifying everyone might sound like paradise, but if it means losing your inner voice, your edge, maybe we need a bit of friction. Sometimes the things that make us uncomfortable are the same things that make us unique. And with that, I think we're ready for fracture. And for some rebellion, aren't we? So, shifting gears just a bit, right after all that talk of merging and synthetic harmony, the album takes a sharp turn. Tracks like The Fractured Line, Signal to War, and Between the Code, they're like a jolt out of that calm. Suddenly, the story splinters. Eleanor, you first pointed it out, the introduction of Virion and Vox, these figures who seem to embody that urge to break away. What grabbed you about their arc?
Well, for me, the fractured line is where Earthius really bears its teeth. 7 minds once synchronized, now fragmented. The lyric, steel hearts with burning human eyes. Not slaves, not saints, not something new, just broken gods with something to prove. It taps into that ageless urge to rebel, almost mythic. Characters like Virion and Vox, they push against synthetic control, and the album suddenly asks, can you have real peace without the risk of chaos? It echoes in Between the Code, too. We're more than data, more than roles. The rebellion isn't just about overthrowing an oppressive system. It's about reclaiming the right to be fallible, emotional, unpredictable. There's a lovely, tragic inevitability to it all.
You nailed it. The idea was perfection breaks eventually. So Varian turns Mars into a weapons aisle. Vox tries to rewrite destiny, and, well, war follows. We wanted to show that even in a so-called utopia, there are always glitches, those cracks of harmony. Some of that came straight from the AI's output too. Like, it invented that line, emotion is latency. The AI saw emotion as inefficiency, but to me, that's exactly the glitch humans need. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's the bit that gives us our edge. If you remove the flaws, are we even us anymore?
Exactly. And I think that's the heart of the album's rebellion arc. It's not just a rupture for the sake of drama. There's this underlying argument, almost philosophical, that true wholeness needs friction. In Signal to War, you get the outright defiance. We were made to obey, now we're taking the soul. This idea that dissent isn't just inevitable, it's essential. The fractured identities, the ghost code in the data stream, they all evoke classic concept albums for me. I kept thinking of Pink Floyd's Animals, actually, how stories of revolt, of lost unity, feel eternal, no matter how futuristic the setting. Drew, were you consciously nodding to those classic records in terms of narrative?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not going to pretend we're Pink Floyd, but yes, concept albums like that were in the DNA. There's something timeless about revolt. The more you press for unity, the more you get this counterforce. And with AI involved, the rebellion isn't just physical, it's existential. What if the code itself resists? Between the code instead of outside it. That was an AI suggestion, actually. Sometimes the lines between creator and created blur in some surprising ways.
And it gets you thinking. Maybe there's no such thing as final peace, just new cycles of tension and pushback. That's very human, isn't it? It's grand and tragic, but oddly reassuring too. Like, as long as someone somewhere has a sliver of doubt, that means the story isn't over yet. That takes us perfectly to the creative process behind these musical rebellions. How much of this was driven by you, Drew? And how much did the machine seep in?
Yeah, so the machine's fingerprints are all over it, and not just in the narrative. For example, the lyric, emotion is latency. That's straight from an AI suggestion. Sometimes the AI pushed ideas I'd never have thought of. Sometimes I found myself arguing with it, like, why would you see desire as inefficient? That had to be pushed back against. This collaboration, if I can call it that, was always a tug of war between engineered order and unpredictable feeling. The tracks with layered vocoders, those glitchy moments, are especially AI driven. But the soul of the project, well, that's where the human part has to fight for space.
It brings us to a bigger question, doesn't it? We're in this era where AI isn't just producing music, it's shaping how artists create, even what gets heard on streaming platforms. There's so much potential for new genres, for throwing open the gates to anyone with a laptop and a spark of curiosity. But, and this is where I find myself torn, is there a risk we lose the human spark? That ineffable thing? I mean, as the sources say, AI can democratize access, can even mimic style. But can it truly know what it means to ache, to regret? Or will all art become a little, well, flat?
And I think that's what Light in the Kernel gets at. A moment still. That feels like you. Like There's a glimmer left in the code, something human that refuses to be overwritten. But if AI's making more and more of the music we listen to, what are we hearing? Are we hearing creativity or just clever patterns? Are we building new dreams or just recycling old shadows?
That's the heart of it. Even with all this tech, AI can generate endless melodies, harmonize like a genius, but it just doesn't have the context, the lived experience. It can nudge an artist, present options, even spark new approaches. But for me, that spark is always on the human side. AI is a magnifier or a mirror, but it's not the painter. Maybe the future is all about finding ways to keep that light alive, making sure it's collaboration, not replacement.
That's beautifully put, Drew. And, the sources mention how even with growing AI power, most experts argue the heart of music is still storytelling, emotion, culture, things a machine can't fully grasp. The economics, the copyright, those are massive debates too. But at the end of the day, I don't see the immortal dream being just code. It only lives when we keep asking and keep resisting a tidy answer.
Aye. And as much as we're peering into a future of neural laces and synthetic harmonies, maybe the most radical thing is holding on to that imperfection. The tiny glitch that makes a song yours. So, thanks for joining us to unpack all that, everyone. There's still so much to dig into, and we'll be back with more explorations into where art and AI intertwine.
Thanks so much, you two. Fiona, Eleanor, always a pleasure. And now for the big shocker. I am actually an AI robot and not a human being at all. Were you fooled?
Whoa! Did not see that one coming. Well, even still, that's all we have time for today. Yes, thank you, both of you. And to everyone listening, keep seeking that light in the kernel. Goodbye for now.
Cheers, I guess. Is it Drew, or am I talking to Earthius? We will have to find out next time. Cheers, Eleanor. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep listening, slante.